am a slave, and my master is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
So, this is the introduction to my local town, closest one to me. I thought I'd do this blog because I thought it would be of great value to people have an idea of where I live, the shops I go to. They're not immediately close. I mean, the town is actually out of the way from where I live, but it is close enough that, you know, it's the closest market town I have. I thought it was an appropriate point to kind of just show you around where I live, what I do. So, this is Stroud. This is basically the closest market town I come to. It's still off a trek from where I live, but it is in many ways the closest main market town I've got at home. Not much to see here on the main, on one of the side streets that I'm just coming out of, but many of these coffee shops that maintain themselves down here are genuinely incredible, because I mean they're like single coffee shops. They're not one of the big supermarket ones. This is one of the things I love about market towns in general, and as you can see, my community is incredibly diverse. I mean, there are nasty things like Costa. I'm not a fan of those, or the Greg bakeries that are over there, but we have independent bookshops, health and body care. I mean, market towns are amazing in that regard, and how much they maintain themselves in the area. I mean, that was an old tailor's. Moving down here, we come towards the old church. Now this church is very, very old, like ancient beyond possibility. I think this one specifically is in the Doomsday Book, though I'm not entirely sure upon its age. I think it's at least 1,000 years old. Not this new annex. This is a rather newer part of the actual church and the annex itself. But the central chapel is under capacity. So as you can see, this is a really old part of the Stroud Church. The steeple positioning. I don't know if this particular part, I think the 1,000-year-old is inside. I can't enter at the moment. But the grounds and gardening of this area is absolutely stunning. And much of the market town is beautiful from this kind of vantageable point. But the church itself has incredible levels of history. I don't know how much of the old stained glass is still standing, but from the history you can see already the weathered stone, much of the old buildings. So this is a good indication of where I sit at the moment. I'm going to be doing other pictures of this, of the rest of the market town, but I thought this would be an excellent position to start with. This is itself the town centre, and it's quite old these days. I mean, I don't know how old the building is personally. It's one of those things I just don't know the local architecture and area, but this town centre area is pretty much the centre of much of the market towns that exist in the UK, especially here in the countryside belt. But yeah, this is home town. Well, yeah, not that homeish, it's close. As you can see, as I was saying earlier, there is a lot of independent shops in smaller market towns. Especially the more further you go. I mean, obviously you've got Vodafone and Boots, all the other kind of normal garbage you get. But then you also get like things like independent card shops, and Penny's Farmhouse Farthing Cafe is really old. The Penny Farthing Cafe is actually probably one of the oldest cafes in the entire market town, I think. And then you've got things like Moonflower, Fond Revenue. I mean, you come down to Super Drugs and Millets, obviously there are other facilities and capacities here. And this time you go to Boots Opticians. I don't know why they don't keep both of them in one place. It's rather a joke, really. Busking goes on a lot in Stroud. That's a rather very, very new cafe. Brander's. Bargain store. box card factory. I'll probably end up doing a talk over on top of this, just to give an idea. Might null my own voice and do a talk over of this, just have an idea. That used to be a really old chip shop, but has now been changed a great deal. Subways. The Lansdowne, now that was previously a pub, and I think it's being opened up as a restaurant and cocktail bar these days, but it's not currently. The old Greyhound itself. And that's one of the main streets that leads onto the market itself. W.H. Smith, the banks, and of course we have more buskers, but then market towns always do. It's the nature of what they are. Fiddler and a piper, and the vaccine squads. So this is one of our indoor markets. Like I said, we have a lot of independent shops here, which isn't really that surprising. I mean, you also get other things, Rough Hands coffees. This place is swimming in coffee shops, especially independent ones. Like I said, you will never find this town having more than like a dozen coffee shops just in part itself. This is the Mary Walks Centre. Now, the thing I like about the Mary Walks Centre is it has a massively renovated indoor marketing system, where there are small kind of side food issues here and there. And like I said, you've got all kinds, Armadella's kind of cheeses and wines, Waghorn Artisans Butchers, fresh seafood. The Artisan's Baker, Non-Solace Pasta, and Thai to go. I mean, this place is swimming in overall small shops. And pretty much one of my favourite places to eat is the House of Perry. And not to mention this gentleman who serves the House of Perry.
Hello, bud. How's it going?
And that is the indoor market with the cinema underneath it, several other pizza places, but that's the indoor market by itself. Yes, there is a gym, a stuff for a lot. I haven't been in any time in quite some time. My belly line, unfortunately, definitely tells me I should be going back in. We have a rather ugly looking car park there, B&Q. This is what was an ancient bus stop that the market itself was actually started building on. This hasn't been... And then we've got the old convent itself. That's been completely levelled these days. And further up to there is where much of the development is still going on. But that's the first part of my blog involving my town, alhamdulillah. I think that's what's left of the old convent. I mean, it used to own a great deal of land, but relatively speaking, there isn't much left of it. Parts of it have been bought up by the school, parts of it have been bought up. We got a rather old Catholic school on the other side of that. And part of it is owned by the council itself, walkway, pathway. But yeah, the old convent I don't think has been used in many years, I think. I mean, I'm not entirely clued up on the convent itself. But the buildings are just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And of course we've got the walkway and one of those nasty looking buses. I can't ever stand those things. So I mean, this is another one of the cafes. As you can see, it has beautiful. This is the other side of the fresh fruit store. Nova ice cream. The ice cream store is actually closed at the moment, but then we're in the middle of winter, so that's not surprising. And then this is just pretty much what our indoor market looks like here in Stroud. It's incredibly diverse. Like I said, I just finished eating a burrito and they are incredibly spicy. It's like I took a step into Mexico itself. Astaghfirullah. But yeah, this is one of the points about how beautiful, and of course Christmas trees, but then again, it's an English place, there's not much I can do about that. For those who aren't Muslim, Christmas tree, yeah, they're bloody everywhere. Astaghfirullah. So the renovations have been going on, and the House of Perry, one of my favourite places to eat, is really, really good. You also have the pie maker next door. That seems to be one of the more clear and cut areas. But you have the Kusasurus here, and then you have the La Catena, and then you have the fresh stalls. Oh yeah, obviously there's a wine shop, but then it is a British town. Fresh fruit and veg. That's probably one of the most busiest coffee bars in Stroud. It has so much through traffic, it's unreal. Then you have the lily pads, and yeah, the overall marketing area is massive. Henson Brownie Bar. Yeah, Kusasurus. I think I'm probably going to get something to eat, but I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do that now. The seafood bar here is also amazing. I think I've probably said that, and I'm definitely going to be having a look at the brownie bars. It's something else here in this market town. If you've never been to market towns, I would advise people to do so. They're beautiful places. Hard working. They're the heart of most market towns. Oh my god, this stuff is incredibly spicy. Unbelievable. It's amazing. The amount of ingredients you've got in one of these things. These are like traditional burritos, as they would have in Mexico. My eyes are watering, if you hadn't noticed. I love spicy food, I really do.
I am a slave, and my master is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.